Alrighty, everybody. We should now be live on YouTube. We are watching an ongoing tornado now in Florida, as our 5% tornado probability issued by the SPC yesterday has now come to fruition as a damaging tornado approaches the north side of Defuniak Springs near Ponce de Leon. This is going to be in portions of southwestern Holmes County at the minute. We have a radar confirmed tornado here. Again, this is going to be just off to the north of Defuniak Springs. If you are included in this tornado warning, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows, in an interior room. As again, we have confirmation that this is an ongoing tornado now, doing damage actively along County Highway 1883 near Center Ridge. Again, this is going to continue to push off to the east, and as it does so, it's going to have a very intense environment for tornadic production to take advantage of, assuming that these cell mergers out here continue to help this tornado and not hurt it. We could be looking at a pretty serious situation here. You can see our debris signature there just off to the southeast of Center Ridge. That little yellow area there is where we believe the tornado to be, or at least the debris that this tornado was lofting up to be. This is going to be pieces of homes, trees, shingles off of homes, whatever else, being picked up and thrown up into the atmosphere thousands of feet, and then it reflects back onto the radar here as that kind of yellowish, bluish blob there just off to the east of Center Ridge. This is going to be approaching Union in the south side of Pleasant Grove. Again, this is an ongoing tornado, we believe, northwest of Ponce de Leon, and we're going to continue to watch this push off to the east-northeast over the next several minutes. I would not be shocked to see them issue a new tornado warning for areas off to the northeast, as the storm has actually kind of began to take a northeastward trek rather than a southeastward trek. So we're going to see what happens over the next several minutes, but honestly, if I'm out there south of Prosperity near Cerro Gordo, I'd be seeking shelter, even though a lot of you guys technically aren't in this tornado warning. Again, this is an ongoing situation where we have potentially a damaging tornado on the ground there. Again, this is north of the Defuniak Springs. If you're in Defuniak Springs, we're not expecting too much other than some rain, intense wind, and hail for you guys. But make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows at the least, as again, this is a significant tornado that we have potentially ongoing here, as we do have an active debris signature appearing on the correlation coefficient, just off to the southwest of Union. Again, this is Riding Kid Road at this point, and this is a lightning debris signature, so perhaps we're seeing this tornado occlude at the moment, but again, either way, we've still got pieces of debris up there in the atmosphere, so you guys need to be taking this just as seriously as if we do have an ongoing tornado on the ground. You're going to wish that you had taken all the precautions necessary to avoid this thing. So again, flying debris, the deadliest part of any given tornado, and that is what we're watching actively as we look at southwest of Union there, that little yellowish bluish blob that still appears on the correlation coefficient. Again, velocity support this being a relatively intense tornado. Again, I don't want to say that it's significant quite yet, but I mean, we definitely had decently tight velocities there for a little bit. And again, we are watching this thing actively throw debris thousands of feet up into the atmosphere, so pretty intense situation here. I am going to go ahead and pull up stream chat. If you do have any questions about your location, make sure to leave those down below. What's up, Vincent? Henry with the spam, much appreciated. What's up, Patty? Kevin, Central Illinois EAS, Jake. We've got Indiana Hamilton in here. Again, I did delay this stream about 4 times. The event was just not eventing. We didn't have a single severe thunderstorm warning up until this point, where now we've got an active tornado, and again, potentially a decently strong one as it moves off to the east-northeast. North of Ponce de Leon is where we expect our highest area of danger to be at the moment. Again, we do have an active tornado ongoing, or at the very least, active debris in the atmosphere in this area that was directly correlated to a tornado originally being on the ground. Again, at this point, it's a little iffy, as we do have quite a bit of nasty radar contamination in there, just because we are so close to the radar site. But again, you got to make sure that you are playing this safe, and you want to make sure that you're seeking shelter immediately, as again, this is a very significant tornado. Ended with 11 inches of snow before sleet mixed in. That is absolutely impressive, given the past few years that you've seen out there. I am not certain as to what we're sitting at out here. I haven't gone outside to check totals because it is beyond freezing. The feels like temperature is well below zero. We're sitting at 10 degrees as the actual air temperature. So, again, definitely going to continue our coverage of Winter Storm Fern as we are nowhere near the conclusion of this event. But we got to kind of focus in here and hone in on our active tornado as it moves off to the east of Union. Again, this was a tornado threat that we weren't sure was actually going to materialize. But it did, and it did so impressively, and now we've got a significant line of damaging wind gusts approaching Dothan, Alabama. So, I mean, again, even if you're not included in this tornado warning here, if you're anywhere in the Florida Panhandle or southwestern Georgia at this point, you need to stay alert because we've got a significant line of potentially damaging and destructive thunderstorms coming your way with a storm that's actively producing a tornado. Um, so, anyway. If you're just now tuning in, make sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to share this stream with a friend. Again, this is going to be a pretty important day, not quite as important as yesterday, but still, I mean, even though we're not watching quite as much in the Department of Ice Accumulation, we're still watching for significant to even catastrophic snowfall, which sounds kind of funny to say, but no, it is serious. Catastrophic snowfall amounts across a lot of portions of the Appalachian Mountains, even parts of the Ohio Valley, still getting in on some of that intense, very heavy snowfall there. So we're going to make sure that we're covering all of our bases here today. Again, if we take a look at the winter weather radar on the Radar Omega app, if it would like to load, that would be phenomenal. There we go. You'll notice we've still got a lot of that sleet and freezing rain appearing across portions of Appalachia and beginning to stretch through portions of southern New England at this point. Again, a lot of that being sleet, but we definitely do have some of that ice accumulation still impacting portions of, say, central Virginia. So we're going to make sure that we're watching these areas quite closely. And then again, on the north side of this system here, on the north side of this band of ice, you're watching that heavy to excessive snowfall. Again, across pretty much the entirety of New England at this point, and then also still a lot of the eastern Ohio Valley areas like Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, southern New York, even at this point, getting out on some of the heaviest snow out of this event. So we're going to watch out for this. But again, we got to take a look at our active tornado warning here. We don't believe this to be actively producing a tornado at this point, but again, either way, you got to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately in the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room, as we do still have significant enough rotation to the point where we could definitely see this storm produce another tornado. And again, there's still that possibility that there's some very light debris in the atmosphere associated with this tornado previously, so we got to make sure that we are staying safe out here. Gonna go ahead and make a community post. Again, make sure to share this stream with a friend, like and subscribe. Donations are greatly appreciated, but at this point, again, they are nowhere near required. They just do really go above and beyond with helping the channel and helping the future prospects of this channel. Also, becoming a member helps out greatly, and you're going to get access to a lot of exclusive perks, such as members-only videos, custom stickers to use in live chats, shout-outs, and more. But anyway, for some reason, this is not letting me share this on a community post. Again, tornado warning remains in effect here for the next 18 minutes. Wouldn't be shocked if they cancel it at this point. I think they're going to wait and see how these mergers impact this storm before they do so, though. Which, again, it makes sense. Again, still got some broad rotation there, certainly, just off to the east of Union. So we're going to continue to keep an eye out on that. So at this point, we are continuing to watch more customers lose power across portions of Appalachia as that freezing rain accumulates. We've got 36,000 in West Virginia without power. We've got 69,000 in Kentucky without power. 338,000 in Tennessee without power. 174,000 in Louisiana, Mississippi without power, and then 146,000 in Louisiana without power. 91K in Texas without power, 31,000 in Alabama without power, and 90,000 in Georgia without power. And they have now issued a new tornado warning for portions of southeastern Alabama here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Um, Again, this is a new tornado warning going out for the south side of Dothan, Alabama, near Ashford, Taylor, Rehoboth, Cottonwood, and Fayette. We believe there to be active, strong rotation that has the capability to produce a tornado over the next several minutes. So if you are in this area, make sure you are seeking shelters immediately, indoors and away from windows on the lowest floor possible. Again, these significant damaging wind gusts here have had a history of knocking out power. That's where a lot of our outages are coming from in Alabama. It's not necessarily freezing rain as much as it is the significant wind gusts here associated with our big old line of thunderstorms down the southeast corner of the state. Going back over to our southern tornado warning storm again, this is the storm that previously produced a tornado. It's still labeled as an observed tornado warning, but again, at this point, I would expect them to get rid of that within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Our storm up to the north here near Dothan, we don't have a great look at on radar, but you can kind of see your broad area of circulation there just off to the north of Esto. This definitely feels like more of a precautionary tornado warning to me. I don't see this imminently producing anything, especially as it's about to get impacted there by another portion of this line of storms, potentially kind of have that, destructive merger effect that we talk about all the time. So, whilst we're not super concerned about this at the moment, it is important that you make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows and seeking shelter immediately just to play it safe. Again, either way, you're going to see some significant damaging wind gusts that are definitely going to have the potential to down trees and power lines. So again, make sure that you are seeking shelter out there in the southeast corner of Alabama. Just south of Dothan is where our active tornado warning is. And again, our southern storm here, we don't believe is actively producing a tornado by any means. So, again, at this point, we really could do without this tornado warning. But just make sure that you are staying cautious out here. Obviously, it does look like potentially we have a new area of circulation developing off to the west of Westville, over Vortex Spring, perhaps. Again, decently prominent rotation there, but again, we've only seen it for one frame, so it's nothing to be too hyper concerned about at this point. Again, just make sure that you are seeking shelter if you are left in the northeast corner of this tornado warning. That's really the only area of concern at this point. Everywhere else, we're just forecasting significant damaging wind gusts. Give me just a second here. Gonna try and do something real quick on my end. So again, continuing to watch that kind of sneaky area of rotation. They're likely over bounds crossing at this point, or at least close to it. I mean, we kind of had that little velocity couple of handoff event happen there. So we'll see if this strengthens. We can't quite give the all clear yet. We do have again, I don't want to say a prominent hook echo, but a developing hook echo at the least. They're west to Westville, south of bounds crossing. New velocity scan suggesting more of the same, just some broad, weaker rotation. Or storm up near Dothan, still broad rotation there, but again, make sure you are staying in your safe spot. If you're anywhere near Cottonwood or Slocombe. Again, my voice is just gone at this point. Been very busy over the past couple of days, and then we had our stream yesterday, obviously. And even though it wasn't that long, it took a heavy toll on me for some reason. And again, I don't think being stuck inside really helps much. I can't go outside and grab any of that sweet, precious Illinois air. At least not for more than 5 or 10 minutes. So, but I do have some fluids, so alright, give me just a second here. So at this point, even our new area of circulation looks to be occluding. Um, Again, not super concerned about this storm at this point. Again, the main question around today's event really did revolve around storm mode, and it looks like our storm mode was just a little too uh, widespread and dominant, rather than discrete and supercellular. Again, we saw that big old line of storm sweep through, and that definitely didn't help anything because obviously that's gonna suck up our supercells before they have more than 5 or 10 minutes to do something. So again, that kind of killer tornado threat for this afternoon. I mean, not entirely, obviously, but definitely hindered it, I suppose would be a better way to put it. Because again, we did have that very brief tornado there off to the northwest of Ponce de Leon, we believe. But outside of that, at this point, I'm not too concerned for the rest of this event. At this point, continuing to watch our very broad circulation, not broad, but very weak circulation west of Westville there. Which again appears to be occluding. So we did just get a report from Batten's Crossroads, Alabama. We've got blown transformers apparently. So again, pretty significant damaging winds impacting the southeast corner of Alabama. At this point, we probably could have done with a an upgrade for a couple of these severe warnings to damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. Again, we've seen extensive, numerous power outages across southern Alabama at this point. So again, our tornado warning in the Florida Panhandle is still marked with the observed tag, but at this point, I mean, it's pretty safe to call it clear here. Again, significant damaging winds still battering the area, but no sort of imminent tornado threat remains. Again, very broad circulation there near Westville. I would doubt they're going to reissue a tornado warning for that, but we'll see. And they did actually reissue a tornado warning for that. So, new tornado warning here for Caryville, Bonifay, and Chipley, Florida. Again, that's going to be for a rotation just over Westville at the minute. So, if you're included in this new tornado warning, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from windows and in an interior room. Again, weak circulation there near Westville, but still enough to the point where you should be taking this seriously and seeking shelter out there. Again, no signs of an ongoing tornado, but we'll keep an eye out on that. Jesse, how's it going? Again, awaiting this next velocity scan here, that's going to really be the deciding factor as to whether or not we're going to continue to look at this for too much longer. Again, I wouldn't rule out that we see some more significant damaging wind gusts this afternoon, but at this point, I would highly doubt. I'm going to go and eat my words there. We're going to pretend like I wasn't saying anything because we do now have an ongoing tornado north of Webb, Alabama. This is a radar-confirmed tornado with a impactful debris signature there just off of the east of Kinsey. So if you are in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from windows and in an interior room. Again, this is an ongoing tornado now, verified via correlation coefficient debris signature. Again, if you're in Columbia, Webb, or anywhere off to the east of the Headland Municipal Airport, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Looks like we got a brief QLCS tornado there that's already occluding, but I mean, it got decently strong for at least a few seconds, so pretty interesting to see. I really didn't think that our 3 Cape would be high enough to see any prominent QLCS tornado threats. If we go over to the HRRR model, I mean, what are we really looking at in terms of 3 Cape here? I guess 100? Typically, that's not going to be enough to pull off any widespread QLCS tornado threat. But twas today. So again, second tornado of the day now confirmed here, just north of Webb. It does look to be occluding, but again, still definitely some debris in the atmosphere. They're just off to the west of Pleasant Plains, so if you're in this area, make sure you are continuing to seek shelter as that rolls through. And then again, just watching our other storms across portions of the Florida Panhandle here very sporadically. Again, it's not impossible that we see something here, but I would be kind of surprised if this minimal 3 Cape could pull off multiple QLCS tornadoes. Again, QLCS standing for quasi-linear convective system, basically just a tornado that develops in a line of storms. Again, if you're just now tuning in, make sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to share this stream with a friend. Again, obviously, it would be kind of shocking if there was somebody in New England that didn't somehow know what was going on at this point, but we've got a significant snow event incoming for you guys, and again, we're going to be giving continuing updates on the situation down here in portions of the Tennessee Valley and the lower Mississippi. And then again, we've got some active tornado warnings now in the southeast corner of the United States to worry about, just along the Gulf Coast here. So, I'm going to continue to watch some of those. Again, at this point, our main concern would be with our storm near Webb. But even that, again, looks to be an occluding tornado. It looks like it ran into a couple of weaker cell mergers that destroyed this thing's momentum pretty quickly. Again, still some broad rotation near Sanders Spur and Fedette. Um, we've got 30% of Geneva County, Alabama without power, but again, that is almost certainly just related to significant damaging wind gusts. But again, at that point, we're talking, a good 60 to 70 mile an hour swath of winds. 66-mile-an-hour gust was recorded at the Enterprise Municipal Airport in Enterprise, Alabama. Again, reports of transformers blown in Battens County. Also, reports of storm damage at homes near Damascus. Again, a lot of areas near Coffee, Dale, and Geneva County sitting with significant and extensive wind damage. So again, I mean, this looks to be a pretty prominent damaging wind threat as this line of storms continues to sweep through the southeast section of Alabama and eventually the southwest corner of Georgia. And I mean, we're going to see this cross state lines here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So, again, still potentially an ongoing tornado here approaching Columbia, Alabama. At the very least, still debris in the atmosphere there over Pleasant Plains. It looks to be more like debris fallout than anything else. So, likely no ongoing tornado, but again, you need to make sure that you're taking this situation just as seriously as if there was one, because the most dangerous part of any given ongoing tornado is the active debris that it's going to be lofting up, hundreds or even thousands of feet up into the atmosphere. And even though that tornado is occluded, that debris is still caught up there. So we got to make sure that we are seeking shelter again. You want to make sure that you're getting on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows, in an interior room. If you're in Williams, Sigma, or Columbia in the southeastern corner of Alabama. Again, going back over to Florida here, at this point, not too concerned about our tornado warning storm for Bonifay. Again, at this point, though, I would be seeking shelter just in relation to our significant damaging wind gusts. We've got another report of apparently a sign blown over on North Daleville Avenue in Daleville, Alabama. So again, a lot of these kind of more rural communities with some, subpar construction are experiencing some pretty significant impacts here. So we're going to make sure that we're continuing to watch out for that damaging wind threat over the next several minutes. But, again, at this point, not too concerned about any imminent tornado threat with any of these storms, other than our area rotation up here near Columbia. So again, we're going to continue to watch that as it progresses further east. New SPC update has come out on Radar Omega. They're keeping the 5% tornado probability intact for a lot of the Florida Panhandle as well as the far southwestern corner of Georgia there. So again, Albany, Georgia, Moultrie, Georgia, Tallahassee, you guys are the area of greatest concern from this point forward. Again, if not for a tornado threat, I mean significant damaging winds. This is a pretty intense line here that we got sweeping through the Gulf Coast. Oh, we do actually have PA storm trackers out there. I haven't mentioned that yet. We got PA storm trackers out in the western sections of Pennsylvania chasing today. Looks like they've got something going on here near Edensburg. Not sure what that is. Can't tell if that's like just law enforcement sitting there or if that's somebody slid off the road or what. So again, we'll keep an eye out for that, but they have given us permission to use their feed for today. So we are going to thank them for that and continue to do so. What did I just do? I can't get back. I can't get back to the the radar picture. I think I just deleted the overlay. Well, that's unfortunate. Um, well, what do we do now? I don't know how I did that. I did, I didn't intentionally mess with anything. Well, I don't know. Is it because I'm not in? There we go. Fixed her up. That was almost a disaster. We recovered it though. Yeah, it looks like they are checking up on somebody out there. Again, torrential snow coming down in pretty much the entirety of the northeast corner of the United States at this point. And by northeast corner, I mean anywhere from New England to, northern Appalachia back through the eastern Ohio Valley. That's where we're watching our winter storm Fern continue to bring the greatest impacts to. Again, not uh, necessarily super concerned about our tornado threat being imminent for anywhere across portions of Georgia, Alabama, or Florida at this point. As pretty much all of our storms that are currently tornado warned have lost their steam. Again, broad rotation at the least, approaching Columbia still. I mean, we've still got at least some semblance of debris signature here. It's entirely possible this is still actively producing a tornado. Um, that's what I was saying, Kevin. I was not necessarily super keen on the idea of a QLCS tornado event today. I really figured it would be more super sailor prominent rather than being associated with our big time line of storms. And again, that's mainly coming down to the three Cape content is what drove my decision that direction. Um, because the last time that we saw an event with this little instability within the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere was quite a while ago. I can't even think of a time. Again, it's not to say that there's no three Cape, but given the environment and the other parameters, I would have thought we would have needed a much greater three Cape value, more widespread. Again, I mean, 100 to 153 Cape is certainly enough to prompt significant tornadoes from supercells, but usually for QLCS events, you're going to want a little bit more, usually around that 200 vicinity. And then again, your SRH content within the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere is decent. No denying that. So, again, I mean, it was never an impossibility. I really figured if we were going to see something, it would be more largely associated with a Super Sailor event than or QLCS here. Again, still some broad rotation approaching downtown Columbia at this point. Again, a lot of contamination, so it's hard to tell exactly what's going on, but it appears like we still have a debris signature there. So, again, if you're in Columbia, make sure you are seeking shelter here. Last minute, if we've somehow got anybody watching from out of the 7 people that are in the chat, I know all you Colombians out there in southeastern Alabama are just fretting beyond belief here at this tornado. I can't even finish a sentence without stuttering, so I'm gonna not try to be funny. I yeah, that about sums up how much energy I have this morning or this afternoon. I woke up like an hour ago, so it's this morning for me. But anyway, again, continue to watch our potentially ongoing tornado here as it moves through downtown Columbia. Again, at this point, crossing state lines, riding, let's see, what is that? East Church Street, but I'm trying to find the actual highway name. It looks like we're gonna have some difficulty doing that. They have just added on to the mess of polygons here with another observed tornado warning now for Damascus and Blakely in Georgia. If you're out here in this area, make sure you're seeking shelter immediately. We potentially still have an ongoing tornado here now crossing state line near Columbia along the Chattahoochee River. So, again, make sure you're getting indoors and away from windows on the lowest floor possible. Again, at this point, though, wouldn't be too sure that this is actively producing unless we saw more focused area of correlation coefficients mess in there. I mean, it's entirely possible this is still an ongoing tornado, and again, you should be treating this like it is. You should be seeking shelter, getting indoors and away from windows if you are out here included in this new tornado warning, but I'm slightly convinced by the new CC scan there that we might have something going on. But again, still just generally broad rotation with our 4 southern tornado warning near Bonifay. Again, this is the storm that originally produced a brief tornado near Defuniak Springs. We've got reportedly trees down north of Defuniak Springs as well as trees down near Sunrise and 331 North's intersection. But again, the damaging wind reports that we're looking at there, at least the northern one, or excuse me, at least the southern one, I guess, are entirely. It's entirely possible that they were related to our brief tornado there. I don't know why my camera keeps turning on and off, but it is. Again, still multiple just generally broad areas of rotation across portions of southeastern Alabama and southwestern Georgia, producing tornadoes briefly on and off. Again, not super intently nervous about any of these as of right now, other than our one that again just previously produced a tornado near Columbia. Again, you got to make sure that you're getting indoors and away from windows immediately if you're included in any of these tornado warnings. But at least to me, it appears that we don't have too much actively going on. I'm curious as to what that is. in southeast Houston County. What's up, Mr. Tanks? How's it going? Um, Again, we'll keep an eye out on that there. That looks to be either just very condensed, convincing contamination or signs of a potentially ongoing tornado here. The NWS will have to make a call on that in the next couple of minutes as this tornado warning expires. Um, I suppose that's been there for the past several scans off the CC. It's likely just contam there, then it looks like. We have twin tours in Blakely. Where are you getting our second tornado from? Because again, we've got this broadly rotating tornado here just off to the north of Blakely. Where's our second one? Two velocity signatures. Are you referencing the like this? Is that what you're talking about? How do we know that it's actively producing? My camera continues to amaze me at its failure to stay active for more than 5 minutes. So again, it's kind of hard to keep track of every individual QLCS spin up that we have here, but as far as we're aware, the only tornado that we have ongoing is our one off the northeast of Blakely, and again, at this point, it appears that even that might be entirely occluded, and they've not reissued our tornado warning for our area of rotation near Jacob City. Um, and again, I would continue to watch these just broad areas of circulation here associated with our QLCS, as obviously they've had a history of producing, at this point, I think it's safe to say, several brief tornadoes. Again, specifically across southeastern Alabama. Again, now moving through southwest Georgia. I know I'm not saying much, but at this point, there's not like a whole lot else to say. Um, Again, just continuing to watch these broad areas of circulation here across the tri-state region of Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Again, it is most likely that at this point we're not watching any ongoing tornadoes here. But again, I mean, that's been changing from second to second, so we're gonna keep an eye out here on a lot of these little yellow and dark reddish blobs on the velocity product. That was a beautiful circle. Just phenomenal job, Davis. Um, Again, not seeing any significant reports of damage yet for any of these tornadoes aside from our storm that we had near Defuniak Springs about an hour ago. Again, reports of trees down north of Defuniak Springs. Again, these significant damaging wind gusts, though, I mean, they have brought upon some reports of blown transformers across southeast Alabama, so pretty significant stuff there. And then again, going back up towards Winter Storm Fern, as we take a look at the newest run of the ARRR, you can kind of see there this system will basically be New England's problem throughout the rest of this evening. Again, potentially some significant ice accumulation there across the DC metro area, southern New England, the mid Atlantic region, Delmarva, but wouldn't necessarily say that it's going to be anything near what we saw last night in Dixie. But again, I mean, you know, a tenth of an inch of ice is something that we've seen throughout numerous states at this point during this event. And a tenth of an inch of ice is enough to make travel extremely hazardous. So again, I mean, you know, whether or not we're seeing these power outages or, you know, widespread travel accidents or road closures, it is, you know, already concerning enough that we are seeing a lot of these areas become impossible to travel through just via our very widespread ice accumulation. Again, a really weird looking CC signature there. It's not indicative of an ongoing tornado, just very nasty light contam. Again, not a lot else to say at this point. Again, still awaiting reports of damage from our tornadoes that impacted the southeastern corner of Alabama there over the past several minutes, as well as southwestern Georgia. Again, perhaps a new area of rotation developing off to the west of Centerville. We're going to watch out for that to potentially produce a tornado over the next several minutes. Again, still half asleep here, so. At this point, I think we're going to end off our coverage here. I do want to thank all of you guys that tuned in and liked the stream this afternoon. We may be back later this evening, depending on how the impacts on New England shape up here. Is snow and ice done for Kentucky today? Snow is not entirely done for the eastern portions of the state, but for the most part, significant ice accumulation is going to be concluded, yes. Again, still got some heavy snow there around the Lexington, Louisville area, but if you're talking western Kentucky, you're pretty much done. But again, maybe another inch or two for a lot of central and eastern Kentucky. But anyway, as I was saying, I think we're going to conclude our coverage here. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys all in the next one, whenever that is.